Today we'll talk about the time management because time management amounts to our life management. Whatever we achieve in life depends upon how effectively we have used our time and put efforts. Our actions decides the results, and the sum total of the results decides our destiny in life. What we achieve grossly depends most of the time on the actions we have taken. The cumulative result of the actions we have taken throughout our life decides what is the outcome of the life. We see that some people, they prudently use their time very effectively, and therefore they are able to achieve a lot more than people who don't utilize their time effectively. See, in this time distribution, the God has been very, very fair. Nobody can complain that he has got less time or more time. Mukesh Ambani and Pradeep Chopra, or the person on the street, has the same number of minutes and seconds allotted. Nobody can get more time even by spending a lot of money. So it is one of the most precious asset which we have, but we don't value the way we should value this asset. See, if I go to somebody's house and by mistake or accident, if I break some precious item, art item or antique item in their house, I'm really, really embarrassed and sad, having caused a loss for that person. But we don't have the same amount of embarrassment and sadness when we waste their time, which sometimes are more valuable than that physical asset which we have destroyed. We must understand that time is much more valuable to people. It is part of your life than any other asset. And therefore, we should be very, very careful in at least not wasting our own time and somebody else's time. Now, in this presentation, we'll see that how best we can manage our own time and help others to maximize the outcome of their time and not be cause of wasting their time. So in this universe of abundance, you see everyone has a lot of, in this right now in the world, we have more clothes than we can wear. We have more houses we can buy than we can live. We have more food. We have everything in abundance, excepting time. As we progress, as the humanity is progressing, with most of the gadgets, with most of the technology, with most of the time saving devices we have today than our forefathers or our ancestors and parents had, we still find very little time for doing things we wish to do. So, time is always at a premium. So, therefore, we should from today onwards start valuing our own time and other people's time. The best way we can do that is to be always on time. Yeah, not waste anybody else's time. Because chronic lateness is actually a disease. We have seen people who are coming from long distances most of the time for a meeting or for an event are on time, and the people coming from short distances are the persons who are late. So it's not something to do with logistics or do something with the amount of community time required, but it is actually a habit. Now, proper planning saves time. What we can do is when we plan and do things, we can always cumulative and collectively do things which help us to save time. Yeah, if we suppose if we are going for a meeting and we have already listed out the kind of subject we need to discuss, the agenda points, the things we would like to get clarification, then the chances are we will not forget. And in that meeting, we'll sort out all what is required to be sorted out. If we don't write it, if we don't plan it, the chances are we'll miss out on one or two points and it will require another meeting where these undiscussed points are need to be discussed. It keeps on happening. So therefore, if we plan it in well in advance before doing anything, the chances are that activity will take care of all what is required to be taken care of, and nothing is missed out, nothing is overlooked. Sometimes postponing things also makes a bad thing worse, or postponing things actually make an ordinary work urgent work. Now I would like to ask you, all the friends, all my participants, see, we can basically categorize all the work in four categories. And what are the four categories? One is important but not urgent. Another is urgent but not important. Third is called important and urgent. And fourth is called not urgent, not important. Now, can somebody unmute and tell me, out of these four categories, what category of work I'll take the first? Can anybody say that? Four categories: urgent and important, urgent, not important, important, not urgent, not important, not urgent.
So we should take the one which is important and urgent.
Really? Not necessarily. I'll explain you. Uh, if you have to submit the income tax return today, if you don't submit the income tax return, you will be imposed with a penalty of 5 lakhs rupees. Yeah, it is an urgent work, but not really an important work, because you could have done this 5 days back when it was not very urgent. What is urgent and important is, at the same time you have to today go and attend your daughter's dance. Yeah, and she's really looking forward for your presence in the dance where she is performing. But you cannot do both the things today. Yeah, you can either submit the income tax return or you go and attend the dance. Now your daughter's dance is important, so she is important. Income tax department is not important. Yeah, and it's urgent because that dance will not happen tomorrow. Income tax department again is urgent because if you don't submit the return today, you will be penalized. The chances are is most of us will file the income tax department return to save 5 lakhs, then to attend our daughter's dance, which is very important. But see, we'll judge the work according to the consequence of loss we'll face if we don't do it today, when we are comparing the urgent works. The urgent work where the chances of loss is maximum, we'll first do that even if it is not important, isn't it? Yeah, suppose you have imported goods and everyday damage is about 2 lakhs or 5 lakhs rupees. Now releasing goods is not very important, it's a routine work, but it has become an urgent because you have delayed and now your damage time has started. If you don't release, every single day of delay will cost you 5 lakhs. So something which was a routine work has become urgent because we have been postponing this work for the last 10 days and we have exhausted all the free time. Today, that because of the delay of 10 days, it has now become an urgent work because if I don't release, every day's delay is 5 lakhs. Now celebrating the birthday of my daughter or going to a party or her dance performance, which are important work, as a father I have to do it. But I have to sacrifice that important work because this is urgent. Yeah. So what I will do is first do work where the urgency is highest, because if I don't do, my loss can be very high. And then I'll attend to important works. When, see, there was a survey done by Digest long years back, and they wanted to identify habits of the most successful people. What was the habits of these people which made them such a great success, despite odds they faced in life, despite the humble beginning they had, despite lack of education, despite lack of many resources in their life, they still did very well. And they found that in among all these successful people, the most common habit was they all jotted down a list of work to be done next day, the previous night. That means they had prepared a whole day's work list the previous day, and then they categorize these work on the basis of priority. What work has to be done on that day, what work can be postponed to the next day, what work need not be done at all, and what work they would like to do if there is sufficient time. Yeah, this type of categorization. Now, when we start seeing in that list, when we prepare, that we have more time to do work which we would like to do because they are important works in life, we are becoming slowly a very great time manager. When your list to do has much less urgent works and more important works, then you are a great time manager. Yeah, because we make ordinary things, ordinary work urgent by postponing, not doing the work when we had ample time to do. Yeah, just take ordinary activity of filling your car with petrol. There are people who will fill the petrol when the petrol indicator is showing half. At that time they'll go, they are very leisure, they have no urgency. When that is showing, they'll actually go and fill the petrol. And there are people who will only fill the petrol when the red light is blinking. Now, this is the time when you have made an ordinary work into an urgent work. Because now, if you don't fill, your car will stop somewhere. Now, you have an urgent meeting to attend. When you go to the petrol pump, you find a long queue. You are already getting late, but you can't take the risk, because if the petrol gets exhausted on the way, you will be stranded. You will not be able to reach the meeting point. So, if we are proactive, if in every action we mitigate the risk of ordinary work becoming urgent, we will move towards a level of better time manager. Now, this is just activity planning change, small change. If we attend to the work the moment the work is assigned to us, for a ordinary work like paying electricity bill or paying fees or paying the subscription of our television channel, or things, these are the main things. But if you don't delay them, don't postpone them to a level where they become urgent, I think we are tending to become a great time manager. This is the first thing we should do. Never let an ordinary routine work become urgent. Yeah, then you will find that you have ample time, and the more time we have for doing important works in life, like if you want to do a course, you want to do something which will improve your knowledge, improve your skills, make you a better human being, or make your children more knowledgeable, more skillful, or spending time with family, spending time with friends, doing things which you love to do, your hobbies. The more you take out the time by becoming an effective time manager, you tend to become a great time manager. Yeah, so we are objective. Why should we do all this? Because then we will have enough time to be able to do things which we love to do. That's the whole idea. Now, there are two kinds of people. There are people who are multitasker, and there are people who can only focus on one work at a time to be able to do justice to that work, to be able to produce quality work and things like that. Now, if we have to decide, and it is also possible that you are able to do certain work, multiple activities, and certain work you need full concentration. It's also possible. So you are the best judge what you can do. Like for me, at times I'm multiple tasker. At times I want full focus on my work. So depending upon the type of work, I do multitasking or I do full focus. But it's my choice. For instance, I have a mobile phone where I'm listening to all kinds of lectures and things like that, which I keep on listening when I'm having breakfast, when I'm having lunch, or when I'm even in the bathroom, brushing my teeth or whatever. Uh, and there are sometimes when I close my room and I'm fully focused on the work which I'm doing. I don't want any interruption. I don't want anything else. So it all depends on us. Yeah, most of the time, my drawing room, I can show you is when I'm watching a television, there is a treadmill. I use the treadmill while watching TV. Uh, when I'm walking in the morning, I am listening to songs which I want to now record. So all kinds of things, these are things which we can do multiple tasks. And some work we can do full focused on one work. Now, we accomplish more. And see, there is a Parkinson's law of, uh, you know, completing any work, which says work expands to fill the time available. Yeah, it's a very interesting book. The book is also in our library. It says the work expands. Suppose I give you a work to finish in 3 days, the chances are you will finish in 3 days. The same work, if I give you that you can finish in 30 days, you will take 30 days to finish that work. This they have found by research and by studies, and they have found that same work, and there is a justice. It's not that 30 days they are wasting time, or they are, uh, you know, they have found that same, and there's no difference in quality also, not substantial difference in quality. That means if you have taken 30 days instead of 3, it doesn't mean that your work is 10 times better. Uh, so they say that deadlines should be very realistic. It should not be long. It should be actually shorter than what you expect. So then what happens? That we tend to finish that work within that deadline. And there are two things. One is external deadline. That means the person who's assigning work to you, he is expecting some that work is within a given time. Your internal deadline to yourself should be at least 3-4 days earlier, because then you have a buffer time. And you have buffer time does what? That in case you delay for some reason, somebody has fallen sick, or some accident has happened, or something has not come on time, you still are able to meet the external deadline, despite the fact that these unforeseen circumstances were not uh, foreseen earlier. But it's true that by Parkinson's law and many other people who has done studies on people's work habits and so on, they have said deadlines, internal or external, always put a kind of a mental pressure on us, so that we don't normally procrastinate, and we try to finish the work within that deadline. So we should have always a deadline. We should be able to give ourselves the deadline. And now we should also have a constant reminder. If we tend to forget, we are always forgetful. It's normal. As you age, like in my age, people forget more. So it always help if you can note down, or you can put it on calendar or your uh, planner in the mobile phone or anywhere else. If you put a timer or reminder or things like that, the chances are you will not forget those appointments, you will not forget those things to be done and those time limits. Yeah. Uh, Now, right now, you are like uh, exposed to so many webinars. I keep on forgetting webinar, which is when. Yeah. So the best way is that you set up an alarm in your phone, and so you know exactly that what time the webinar is starting, and therefore you are not forgetful, and you are able to attend those webinars on time. Now, whenever you are going for a meeting, it always works when we reconfirm the meeting, particularly in India. Yeah, because people forget, they are likely to forget, or people have changed program, or suddenly something has come up. And it is very rare that they will inform you about the change of the venue, about the change of the plan, and things like that. And your time is going to be unnecessarily wasted. So it is always better that you call them and find out whether the meeting is still on, whether the gentleman who's supposed to come is going to come, whether everything is in order, nothing has gone wrong, and the agenda is same or anything changed in the agenda, so that when you go, you are fully prepared and you are not disappointed because the meeting is either cancelled or postponed or changed. So it's always worked. And always see, I used to do, now that you have got a mobile phone, you can watch so many videos and things like that, read so much material. Earlier, whenever I used to go to doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, lawyer's appointment, chartered accountant's appointment, the chances are all these places, people will not see you on time. You have to wait. It's a normal. Yeah, because the doctor got delayed in the operation theater. He has not come to the chamber, but you have been given the appointment. You have to wait for 2 hours. Now you can't leave. It's better to have something to do. I used to carry a book to read whenever I was going for such appointment. It saves, it helped me not to waste my time. Now, realistic goals, that means the deadlines which we are setting up should be realistic. It should not be too long or too short. Too short means that the chances are you will not be able to do a good, decent job, because it will then reflect on the quality of the work we have done. And it's too long, then we will unnecessarily be wasting time. Now, we can, when we are planning these deadlines, we should also plan in such a fashion that the most important work gets done on time or before time, and the least work of least consequence can be put at the bottom of the list to do. Like for instance, uh, when you are having to pay some bills, where there are penalty clauses, when we have to return any library book, or when we have to file a tax return, or any such thing where there are penalties, those work should definitely be done on time because they are time linked. The other work where there is no penalty and delay can be adjusted to meet these deadlines where the consequence is penalty payment. Other work, meaning going to see a movie or taking out your family for dinner or going to meet a friend or such works, they it really doesn't matter whether I go a day before or a day later. It really doesn't matter. But these things will cause penalties and things like that. And let's, when we are planning the day with to do things with time, we should not crowd. We should have buffer zones. That means between the two appointments, we must have sufficient time so that if one appointment time to do that, finish that work gets extended because of some obvious reasons, the second appointment, I'm still on time. We should have buffer time. Now, in case your first appointment gets over on time or before time, and your second appointment is still way off, and you have a buffer time, those are the time areas which you must have a general preparation. That means those are the time when you can actually do things which you love to do, which are not otherwise able to do. Uh, Please keep those time to do those work, which can be anything, which can be if you want to learn something from the phone, there's some kind of a lesson or some kind of a lecture or some kind of a phone call you want to make to a friend who you're not finding time to talk to them. You can just check if they are free, then you can maybe talk and do many things which otherwise you don't find time to do. which are doable in those times. Now, being organized saves times. What is organized? When we have everything in place and there is a place for everything. You really know which thing to find where. Yeah, and when required, you can find it without wasting time in looking for it. Yeah, this is what I call proper organization of things in an office setup or in a home setup. Yeah, if you have one place where all your remote controls are being kept, or there's a place where you find your pen, stationery, there's a place where you can find whatever you need in a day's operations, and you find all that in time in one place. That's how we organize our office and homes. It's very, very important that we organize, and we can also organize our work by having master lists. Yeah, when we are traveling, we can have a master list for packing. We can also keep a packed suitcase always ready to travel out. Those set of clothes, those set of items are extra, which are only used while traveling. Or a lot of to organize your house or home or office or travel on the net. You can go and see, and there are a lot of good tips which we can follow. Now, storing numbers, telephone numbers is very good way of uh, saving time. Now, this Zoom session is a good way of saving time, because we should not travel to meet a person. What we can do by making a phone call. Yeah, this should be the philosophy. What I can do by making a phone call or by having a Zoom session, I should not physically go and waste time traveling and spending time, spending money for petrol and parking and all that stuff. Things which we can do on phone or on Zoom. Yeah, and the same thing goes for between physical shopping and online shopping. Yeah, things where there is hardly, you don't need to see physically. All you need to do is see their specs, or you are already decided about the brand, or things like that. It's much uh, time saver to orders online than to physically go and buy the things. Now, as I already said about the filling of the tank, uh, it's always good that you avoid all kinds of urgencies by filling the tank or buying the things or replacing your groceries in the house or paying for all the services on time, so that you don't face the consequence of not having paid or not having bought the item well within time. So whenever you are going for shopping, make sure that uh, everything which you will need in the next 15 days or which you have already exhausted is already on the shopping list, and you have not forgotten or overlooked anything, so that which will need another visit to the shopping center. Emails, again, we get a lot of emails, and today WhatsApp, you must be very careful. We can't physically see all the emails and all WhatsApp, so we must be very careful in selecting them. And so in email we have filters anyway, which takes most of the junk mail out. And similar thing we can do, we can make a program, a plan, which WhatsApp will see, with whom, from whom we are coming, delete all the unuseful, uh, wasteful WhatsApp, so that your memory is not locked or jammed of the phone and things like that. Now, I've seen people who had lost phones. I've also lost phone. And my biggest problem when I lost phone was data, phone data. Now that I have all the phone data on cloud, I have no problem, because even if I lose, all my data is on the backup. See, everything which you do these days, most of the things which we'll do will stay online, which will stay in the digital format. Yeah, because they are in digital format and they are likely to be get corrupted. The best is that we should do a backup. Now, the theory is in backup that it should be in 3 different devices, and kept in 3 different places. So if one place get a fire or flood or something like that, the data is still intact in other 2 devices in other 2 geographies, and one can be on cloud. Yeah, out of these 3. Now, assortment of things. Yeah, when we receive a mail or when we receive a WhatsApp, let's say, and if you feel that that WhatsApp or that mail you are going to use in future, you can always make a bank or you can always make an account where you can transfer these WhatsApp or these mails so that you can always refer to these mails or WhatsApp in future whenever you require them. Otherwise, what will happen if you're not saving them or you're not putting it in one place from where you can get, the chances are after 2 days or 3 days, you'll not know where you have seen this uh, WhatsApp. So it will actually going to lose and you will waste a lot of time in looking for it. Same thing you can do for email. Same thing you can go do for your paper mails. Yeah, you can immediately file those papers so you know where relevant file so you can get it when you require them. Now, most of these people want to have your data, in particular your email ID and your phone numbers, so that they can send you, uh, all these kind of junk mail and things like that, sales and this thing. It's better not to give these number and email ID to everyone, uh, so you avoid yourself for getting these sales calls and things like that. And I normally, when I get a call and I'm in office or I'm doing some important work, I don't receive the call that time. What I use is my time in the car is used only to make phone calls. So that's the time when you can actually return the calls. And if you don't have to return any call, that's the time when you can see a lot of these YouTube videos, or you can see the WhatsApp videos, or you can actually read certain things on the line which you have got, but you don't have time to read them or to watch them. Now, having a clear workspace in house and in office. Now, most of us, or at least good number of us, will be working from home. This is now becoming a new norm. Uh, it's better that we have a separate room in the house from which we can work in peace. Yeah. Now, if you see today's newspaper, most of the people have expressed their desire to move to a bigger house with an extra room, because the new norm requires working from home. So they need one extra room where they are not disturbed by their other family members like children and other members. So they are moving. And this is kept again like an office, very, very, where all things are put in place and everything has a place. Now, logically, we can't remember which thing is kept where and all that. We can't remember the list. It is better that we store similar kind of things in similar areas. So if we have a lot of, let's say, uh, reports, all the reports, study reports, can kept in one place. All the either it can be alphabetically ordered so that the files starting with some name, alphabetically ordered, they are stored. All these things we can do so that we, even if we don't have list in front of us, we can still find out which one, which paper will be available in which file and where that file is. This we have already discussed that most of the similar things can be stored together so that we know where to find them. Now, in public places like offices, big offices, uh, people use a lot of machines like copying machine or coffee machine or vending machines and things like that. It is better that near that machine we have a very clear cut, uh, step by step, uh, user manual or user instructions. And in offices we should also have signages. Signages are missing. You'll find that even in the housing complex, in front of the main door, the occupant's name is not there. Now it becomes a very it's a time wasting exercise, and we are disturbing other people. Suppose you go on this, that some Mr. So and so lives on the 6th floor, and you go on the 6th floor, and you really don't have any flat numbers or any nameplates in front of the main door. You really don't know which house is the person living whom you are going to meet. So you probably have to press the bells of the 5 other people's houses before you actually reach to your customer, your person. So why waste time? Please put these signages or names and things like that. And the same way, we should put signages in our offices, because then everybody knows where the toilet is. Even the newcomer or person who has come for the first time knows exactly where to go. Where is the cafeteria? Where is uh, the main gentleman's chamber is, and so on and so forth. Now, it always pays to have master list. Yeah, because it's very likely that if we are going out and packing our bag, at that time when we are under pressure and we have 10,000 other things to do, we'll forget something to take. Yeah, I normally used to forget to take the charger of my phone. Now I don't have a charger, and now how do I charge my phone? Yeah. So therefore, if we have a list, we'll make sure that everything which we require is there. Yeah. So that and same thing, we can have a master list in the kitchen, master list in the laundry room, and so on and so forth, so that we are ensuring that whatever we need, we'll always have a time. We'll not run out of these things. Now, I used to go to attend a lot of these birthday parties and marriage parties and uh, you know achievement award parties and things like that. And every time I go, I have to carry some gift. Yeah. So what I did is, I had gone one day and bought a lot of gifts together, got them packed and categorized them in the order of the kind of parties where it can be used, like birthday parties for children, birthday parties for adults, marriage anniversary party for adults, 25 years, 50 years. Then somebody has passed the exams with good numbers, that appropriate gift. And I have done it in one time and put it in an almirah, so that in the time when I have to go to attend this party, and I have no time on that day to go and look for the gift, I know that I have got a gift in my house. Yeah, purchase early, so I am not under no pressure. I'm absolutely fine, no tension, no stress. I can go and easily give, because everything was planned in advance. Now, grouping things saves a lot of time. And grouping things, giving somebody else to do your work in return of your offering them to do their work, also works and save time. Suppose you are going to Salt Lake. Suppose I live in North Calcutta, I'm going to Salt Lake for doing a work. Now, on my way, there are many things which I can do. If I can delay those things to a date when I'm planning to go that area, uh, and I can get the work together, I'm going to save a lot of time, because when we are doing such works, the amount of time spent on commuting is much higher than the time taken in that meeting. And therefore, collectively doing them together will save a lot of time, because I'm commuting only for once and I'm finishing 4 works. That's that's the whole idea. And sometimes some work can be done by somebody else. Like, suppose my neighbor or my friend is going to metro to buy certain things, and I want to buy something, I can always ask them to buy for me and I can pay them. Likewise, they can do ask me when I'm going to metro or any shopping center, and I want to and they want to buy anything, they can always ask me to buy on their behalf, so that this commuting time somehow is reduced. Now, when we are going for such trip, psychologically, as we go from one place to another, as the time goes by, we get mentally and physically exhausted. And if we are too much of exhausted, we give up doing certain things. So the behavioral scientists have suggested that to be able to do the entire work, first you go from your place to the place which is farthest. That time you are full of energy because that's the first assignment you are handling, and you will not feel exhausted even if you have to traveling a long time. And the rest of the thing you do while coming back. Now, when you are coming back, even if you are exhausted, you know that you have to go by this way and these places will fall on the way. The chances are you will do the work and you will complete the work, all the work which you have started with. Yeah, you will not give up before everything which is supposed to be done. Now, the other idea is that we should not venture out and do things at the peak hours. Yeah, always avoid peak hours, because in peak hours you are going to a lot of waste time in finding parking, congestion on the road, and congestion to enter into lift, and so on and so forth. The best time to do work which can be done in other odd hours, to do it on odd hours. Yeah. For instance, I get up early in the morning. When I'm going to Aili at 8:30, there's no rush on the road. But the same thing if I go at 10 o'clock, there'll be a whole lot of rush. So therefore, we should avoid going when everybody wants to go. I can give you another example. My friend got her daughter married during off season, when there was no season of marriage. And what a great time he had. He got the marriage hall for 1/3 the price. He got the best caterer offering him at 1/3 the price. Best flower man, best music people, best, all things. And even the guests, all of them came because they have no other place to go. So it was a great marriage. Yeah, because everyone, was a good number of people turning up in a party when there's a whole lot of people are there, then the party is great success. Everything went well and at 1/3 the cost. Now, why should we not take this clue and get married when nobody is getting married? Yeah, off season. You get off season discount. Same thing happens when you are going for a travel, tour, or for a holiday, or even shopping centers. Go on odd hours. Don't go in the peak hours. Yeah, you'll save time. You'll get better deals. You will have better, opportunity of seeing about all the offers. Now, preventive measures taken always save time. Yeah, they say prevention is better than cure. Yeah, so prevention we can not only apply for our health issues, we can also apply when we are cooking or painting or doing other things. Yeah, even when the children are playing on the ground, it is always better that where they are playing, the floor is done with a soft mat, where even if they fall, they don't get hurt each other. They don't get hurt. So these kind of preventive measures, if we take, their chances of accidents will reduce, chances of spoiling our clothes will also reduce. So it's better than when we are cooking, we have apron, and when we are going to places where there's we have a safety boot, and so on and so forth. Now, a stitch in time saves 9. This we have been hearing. It's so true in construction and repair jobs. When a hairline crack starts in your plaster or in your house, if you repair that hairline crack at the hairline crack level, the chances is that your building, that wall will not have a huge crater-like crack. Yeah, but if you delay, that hairline crack will become like a crater-like crack over a period of time. So the best thing is to attend to these kind of things immediately and not let it grow. And same thing is applicable in many things, particularly in health issues. If you have some problem, you are facing problem, it's better to go and to get checked now instead of delaying it and getting the whole disease grow and become worse. Now, sometime a small item missing. I've seen in construction, for instance, you have everything, but you don't have nails. The absence of nail will make the whole construction schedule go haywire. Absence of a small item at times causes biggest delays in the work and cost a lot of money. Yeah, it happens in shooting schedules, it happens in kitchen, it happens in construction sites, it happens in when you're organizing a party or things like that. It always happens. So it's better that we make sure we are very well stocked before we start the or initiate the activity. There's no point in unnecessary, going ahead and we are half-hearted efforts and half prepared. Now today, I'll tell you, the time has come when it is cheaper, better, time saver to order food than to cook food at home. Yeah, when you don't have help and you have to cook it yourself and you're tired, there are services which deliver you home cooked food. Yeah, you can actually get home cooked food of your choice, of your order, and it can be delivered at your home. And not the cost is too high. Sometimes the cost is less than had you cooked that in your own house by yourself. Yeah, so let's use these kind of uh, time saving, money saving services. Now, again, when we are traveling, a master packing list always very handy. And I can tell you that better than a master packing list, you can have a packed uh, baggage for your all to travel requirement and make it very minimum specific requirement of material when you are actually going, just before going. Now, when you have these time saving techniques and plans built into your entire day's plan, you'll find that every day you'll have a lot of free time. As I told you in the beginning, there are 4 categories of work, and one category of work you need not do. You should actually reduce that to great extent and make your day much more effective, much more meaningful, much more activity oriented or development oriented. What is that activity? The activities which is falling under not important, not urgent. Now, these are the work you need not do. It's not required. That may be watching soap opera on television or playing cards or wasting time gossiping. Yeah, these are some activities which people indulge unnecessarily and they think they are getting a kick out of it. But that kick is your mental creation. It's not kick. If you think that there's a kick, yeah, you should get out of these nonsensical work and finding that very uh, kick giving activity. Now, lot of people requires our attention, and that attention, if not given on those time, you will never get back that opportunity ever again. One is that when the children are growing up, they need our attention. They need, and this goes in for them. These are fond memories of their childhood, and if they are not getting, they'll miss all their life, and they'll also tell you that something which they deserved and which they wanted and which they should have got, you have not given. So we must find somehow time to give time to these babies or children which are growing up, or for activities which we love to do, love to contribute. The best time saving device ever invented is the ability and courage to say no. Sometimes we take work because we are scared of saying no, because we think that by saying no, we'll somehow hurt the other person's feeling, or we are embarrassed to say no. There is nothing embarrassing to say no it is more embarrassing to say yes and then not able to do this work, let them down in future, even not give them opportunity to find some alternative person to do that work by agreeing to do the work and then not doing it. Anything you cannot do or would not like to do, please learn to say no. That's the best thing for yourself and for the others also. If they get upset because you are saying no, it's their problem, not your problem. Try to say no with as much politeness, as much compassion, as much niceness as possible. Say no. Sometime in the house, taking jobs and doing it collectively brings fun in doing it. Yeah. When I was child, we had these repair work in the house. When the fuse has gone or some door needs to be painted or some gardening work is to be done or car is to be washed. And I used to join my dad and do all these work. Even my sister used to join sometimes. This common activity where the family members are involved is a best way of spending time together. And not only that, the work gets done. And because we are doing this work under the supervision of my father, I learned a lot of things, skills. I learned how to saw a wood. I learned how to nail, screw, paint, yeah, repair a, a leaking tap or repair a fuse or do all kinds of work. So it's a very good activity which we can do together with other members of the family. And it is should not be the responsibility of one person in the house to make sure that it is clean and uh, everything organized and things like that. It should become a joint responsibility because then there is no pressure on work. And today, both husband and wife are working, are expecting one person to cook food or make sure that the house is clean and all that is absolutely not uh, fair. And therefore, we should divide even the household work when everyone else has office work. Effective communication, very important. Yeah, we must ensure that what I've said, the person who's listening, who's supposed to carry out the work, has understood what I actually wanted to say. And the best way is to reconfirm. It happens in my day to day many times when I'm instructing a subordinate, even my driver. He understands something else, and instead of taking me to Bengal chamber, he takes me to Bengal club. It has happened many times. And sometimes the mistake is mine, not his. Because I thinking that I'm saying Bengal club, I've said Bengal chambers. So it's not his mistake. Now, the best way to organize meeting is on corridor. This is found by the American Association of Effective Work Practices. And they found that when you don't let people sit, when you sit, you get, laid back. Yeah, you will expect a coffee and you will expect a tea and you will expect some pleasantry and all that. So the business is discussed only for 10 minutes, but the meeting time is 1 hour. The best way is to talk on corridor. Yeah, go to somebody else's chamber instead of calling that person in your chamber. Yeah, and just instruct and move on. Yeah, that's the best way. I do that all the time. I don't call anybody in my chamber. I go to them, talk to them, finish the work. I have liberty to walk up anytime. I can't ask somebody who's sitting in my chamber to leave if he's of equal stature or if he's of high stature. Now, because people are getting more and more busy, meetings are happening in the aircraft. Meetings are happening in the car while they are on move. Meetings are happening in some odd places, even on the elevator. There's a famous thing called elevator pitch. So if you really want to have time from your CEO or chairman or somebody who has no time, the best time to catch him is when he's stepping into the elevator and you have 2 minutes while the elevator will go from the ground floor to the top floor. You can finish your entire presentation, your entire pitch in those 2 minutes. And therefore, we teach people how to make an elevator speech or elevator pitch, where you can, in fact, it has been found that all complicated, even complicated communication can be done in 2 minutes time if you know how to do it. People have been meeting, running a meeting by same car when the CEO is going from office to airport or going from office to home. So the meetings are happening in car when two people are traveling together or in flight. And that's also happening. When we take care of all these things, we'll have a lot of time for ourselves. The tragedy today is that despite all these email and WhatsApp and messages and mobile phone and all that, we still don't have enough time for ourselves. And therefore, we must do something to find out. Otherwise, why are we working? When I cannot do things I would love to do, I cannot be with myself for contemplation, for self-discovery. Why am I working? So we should find time to do all this. This is important, not urgent, but important, very important. It's not urgent. You can do it tomorrow if you want to, but it's definitely important. So we should find time to do this important thing. Now, a big change will never come, on one day. When you think about all these, what I've suggested today, you contemplate, you start implementing, at least with baby steps today, you'll see that your entire approach to do things will change. Your entire approach of planning your day will change. Your entire approach to looking at things will change. And then that will amount to a big change in your way of handling life, and big change in its outcome, and big change in the quality of life. So that's all I wanted to share with you. Yeah. Time management is the most important thing. We all talk about asset management and money management and people management, but we don't talk about time management. This is the most important asset. Your own time is the most important asset you have, not your subordinates, not your physical assets. This is limited. Your physical assets can be infinite, but your time is limited on this planet Earth. And it's ticking by. Every minute you are losing 1 minute of your life. Please manage this most important asset very, very effectively, the way you will manage your money, the way you will manage anything else. Thank you so much. Now, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself, ask me the questions.
No, sir, no questions.
No, sir.
No questions?
No, sir.
Do you think this will help you in managing your time? Was this worth your time, this session?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. But you see, I always say after these sessions, knowing and listening is not enough. Knowing, listening, and doing, implementation of knowledge is more important than knowledge itself. Knowledge has no value unless you apply that knowledge in your life. There's no, otherwise it's all waste. Yeah. Even if you apply 10% of what you have learned today, it is worth your while. It will change your life for better. So please apply. If you don't apply it right now, you again get into a procrastination mode and you will never apply. The best time to apply and start this journey of becoming an effective time manager is here and now. When you leave this session, please start thinking about it, start finding strategy to apply that, and start applying. Yeah. So before I leave, once again, I really had a great time talking to all of you. Really enjoyed my session. Thank you so much and love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.